All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. And today I'm going to do a solo. It's the second one I've ever done. But today I'm just going to be honest, raw, real about how I feel about trials in life and just kind of compare it to or make some analogies around the things that I'm going through right now. Because I think a lot of us have gone through it or are going through it, or maybe are going through similar times. So, the funny thing is with trials is that we a lot of times try to avoid them. I know as a kid, when I was growing up, it seemed like it was always talked about how if you are perfectly obedient to God's commandments or you do everything perfectly right, then you'll avoid pain and you'll avoid a lot of the problems in life. And I think that that's true to a point. There's big things that you can avoid. You can avoid getting into drugs, not having to be an alcoholic, or maybe not having a kid when you're 16, or just things that can bring challenges in life. I think those things are all good, and it's good to avoid those things. But here's the thing. Pain is a constant in your life. Adversity is a constant. It's never going away. And so I think too often as humans, we look at adversity like, let me run from it. Let me do things and let me earn my way out of it. Let me earn my way by keeping the commandments that God has set for us and all these rules and regulations, maybe by your church or whatever. And then, in effect, we're going to avoid a lot of pain and we're going to avoid a lot of adversity in our life. And guys, it's just not true. I'm here to tell you it's not true. Maybe you know it's not true, but a lot of us subconsciously kind of believe that it's true. And what if instead, subconsciously, we decided to just go towards the pain? What if when we are faced with pain, it comes knocking on our door and we just kind of let it in? We say, hey, I was expecting you, come on in. And instead of just looking at it like it's a burden, let yourself be able to just take on that pain. In other words, be with it, feel it, experience it is really what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of times we get caught in these feedback loops in life where we just keep going through the same stuff over and over and over. And we keep talking about it and it's never really going away. I think a lot of times the reason why we keep experiencing those things over and over and over is because we're not willing to submit to the pain. We're scared of something. See, I think fear is the big factor here, where we're so scared of something happening that we're running from it, and then it keeps showing up in our life. That which we resist will continue to persist, if you will. So an example of this, money. A lot of people want to have abundance. They want to be wealthy. Well, what is that? There's no number to it. It's different for everybody. But I think I found that most people want it in one way or another. They may say that they don't, but if they won the lottery, they'd be pumped just like anybody else. And the problem is they live in scarcity. The frequency that they radiate is scarcity because they're afraid to live in scarcity. They're afraid to go without. But what if you weren't afraid to be homeless? What if you weren't afraid to be hungry? What if you weren't afraid to not have clothes or not have nice clothes or whatever it may be, or not have a status? See, once you're not afraid of something, you know what is and what isn't. How would you know what abundance feels like if you didn't know what scarcity felt like? See, the thing is, though, I've lived in scarcity before in my life. I've lived in abundance. I've had and I've had not. And when I haven't had, I've also realized that it's not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. In fact, some of the happiest times in my life were when I didn't have a whole lot. And so for you, if you're looking to live in abundance, you have to be okay with the idea that you might not have, or you don't have a lot, or you could fail, or you could lose it all. And if that happens, just know that your life's not over and it's not done. You can still bounce back. I think that principle is relatable to anything that you're going through in life. I just use money, abundance, and scarcity because it's an easy example. But it could be in your marriage. It could be with your kids. It could be in a sport that you play. It could be with church and religion. It could be with whatever. But I like to also think of this. Let me share another thought with you. So you know that old Chinese symbol, the yin yang? You have the white side and the dark side. And they kind of are thick at the top, and then they kind of narrow out towards the bottom. And it almost feels like if you were to take that circle, the yin yang symbol, and spin it, it would look like they're chasing each other, like there's motion. Like the tail, because it's thinner on the bottom, if you were to spin it, it looks like it's in motion, actually looks like it's moving. Well, we often talk about circles like they're complete and they're whole, right? Like what is the symbolic meaning of a circle? Complete, whole. Well, if you think about it, the yin yang symbol is complete and whole. There's equal parts of light and dark. But so often in our lives, we just want that whole circle to be full of light, with no dark, with no pain, with nothing that's going to ever hurt us or tempt us or whatever it may be. But how would we know one without the other? See, the Chinese, I think, had it right. You've got to have both to be able to experience this life. And those experiences in life are the most valuable thing I think that we're all seeking after, but you can't have it without the pain. So this is an invitation, no matter what you're going through in your life right now, to be able to just be with the pain, to experience it. In my life right now, we have 2 kids under the age of 1, and man, it is the most difficult, the most challenging thing that I've ever been through. Not to mention we have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, so we have 4 kids, but 2 under the age of 1. And we're not getting a lot of sleep. That starts to toy with you. There's a lot of things that you feel like you're dropping the ball on because you have humans to provide for. I want to make sure that my wife is okay because postpartum is a real thing. And as a guy, a lot of people don't talk about, hey, how are you doing as a man? How are you doing after the baby? You didn't deliver the baby, so you just got to catch it all, right? You got to be the bowl and just catch it. So it's a challenging time for me and my wife, for our family, to be able to juggle all the balls that we have going on. But here's another thought that I'll say. Business is a rubber ball. Your fitness is a rubber ball. The sport that you play, golf, pickleball, whatever, is a rubber ball. All these areas, everything is a rubber ball. Even your religion is a rubber ball, as much as people don't want to hear that. The one that's not rubber is your relationship with your wife and your family. That one I like to think of as made of glass. That one is the one that you need to take care of first. So when you're going through hard times, sometimes we want to hear things like, not that we want to hear things like this, but we hear them all the time from like David Goggins and other people like that are just big motivators in our world. And I think they have their place. Don't get me wrong. I love a lot of their content. But when you're going through a lot, sometimes the answer isn't to speed up. Sometimes it's actually just slow down and prioritize and say no to things and get things off your plate so you can focus on that glass ball, the one that's the most important, which is your family. Because if you drop that ball, it shatters. And you don't want to drop that ball. You can always get your fitness back. You can always get your business back. You can always get all these other things back. They're going to bounce back. The family ball, the glass ball, doesn't bounce back. It may not. And it's not worth the risk. I'm not saying don't give your best effort in your business. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying don't give your best effort in your fitness during that time that you're struggling and things are hard with your family if you're in a season like mine. I'm not saying don't try your best in your religion or your faith with God. I think that's very important. It's right next to your family. But the truth is that relationship with your wife and your kids is the most important. And even though you may not be perfect during that time, because I am not perfect, I get frustrated, I get angry, it's lack of sleep, I'm tired. I want to be doing other things. I want to be going 100 miles an hour. That's just who I am. I want to be able to do big things, and it's not as fulfilling cleaning the house and washing the dishes and doing all those things. You don't get a big badge of honor or a check that you get to go deposit in the bank account that feels good and gives you a dopamine hit. But at the end of the day, it is the most important thing in our lives, and it's what we're really seeking when we're going and doing all these other things, is to be able to provide a great life for our family. So never forget that. Don't get lost in the hustle and bustle. I think it's great to hustle, but there are seasons in life. So hopefully this was worthwhile to some of you. I know that we're all going through stuff. We all have things in our lives that we're going through. I appreciate you guys following this channel. I appreciate you guys listening. I promise I'm trying to do the best that I can to bring you the best guests that I possibly can in the world. We have some great guests coming up. Supposed to be having Iron Cowboy here pretty soon. Excited to be able to share his story on this platform, and he's an amazing man, James Lawrence. So anyway, stay tuned. love to hear from you guys too. If you ever want to reach out on Instagram, give us a 5-star review if you haven't yet. We really appreciate all those who have. There's so many that have come through, and I'm just so humbled to be able to see all the comments and things that have popped up, and the reviews and the great feedback. So love you all. We'll see you next year in 2024 in a couple days. And until then, I'm out. We'll talk to you guys soon.